The DACA policy was rescinded by the Trump administration on September 5th, 2017, but full implementation of the rescission was delayed 6 months to give Congress time to decide how to deal with the population that was previously eligible under the policy. Research shows that DACA increased the wages and labor force participants of the DACA eligible immigrants and reduced the number of unauthorized immigrant households living in poverty. Studies have shown that DACA increased the mental health outcomes for DACA eligible immigrants and their children. There are no known major adverse impacts from DACA or on native born workers. Employment, while most economists say that DACA benefits the U.S. economy, to be eligible for the program, recipients may not have felonies or serious misdemeanors on their records. There's no evidence that DACA eligible individuals are more likely to commit crimes than other persons in the U.S. Now, this is the background. The policy was created after acknowledgement that Dreamer students had been largely raised in the U.S. And this was seen as a way to remove immigration enforcement attention from low priority individuals with good behavior. The illegal immigrant student population was rapidly increasing. Approximately 65,000 illegal immigrant students graduate from the U.S. schools on a yearly basis. The DREAM Act bill, which would have provided a pathway to permanent residency for unauthorized immigrants brought to the U.S. upon meeting certain qualifications, was considered by Congress in 2007. It failed to overcome bipartisan filibuster in the Senate. It was considered again in 2011. The bill passed the House, but did not get the 60 votes needed to overcome a Republican filibuster in the Senate. In 2013, legislation had comprehensively reformed the immigration system, including allowing Dreamers permission to stay in the country, work, and attend school. This passed the Senate but was not brought up for a vote in the House. The New York Times credits the failure of Congress to pass the DREAM Act bill as the driver behind Obama's decision to sign DACA. Okay. And so that gives you some type of enlightenment of the whole DACA process. Okay, and it has more. Um, DACA was the implementation. DACA was formally initiated by policy memorandum policy memorandum sent from Secretary of Homeland Security Janet Napolitano, the heads of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the USCIS, and U.S. Immigration Customs. The memo formally directed them to exercise their enforcement discretion on behalf of individuals who met the requirements. To apply for DACA, illegal immigrants must pay $495 application fee, submit several forms, and produce documents showing they meet the criteria. They do not need legal representation. To be eligible, immigrants must have entered. This is the eligibility. To be eligible, illegal immigrants must have entered the U.S. before their 16th birthday or prior to June 2007. Be currently in school, a high school graduate, or be honorably discharged from the military. Be under the age of 31 as of June 15, 2012, and not have been convicted of a felony. significant misdemeanor, or three other misdemeanors, or otherwise pose a threat to national security. The program does not provide lawful status or a path to citizenship, nor does it provide eligibility for federal welfare or student aid. In August of 2012, the Migration Policy Institute estimated that as many as 1.76 million people could be eligible for DACA. Of those, 28% were under 15 and would have to wait until reaching that age to apply. In addition, roughly 20% did not meet any of the education criteria, but could become eligible by enrolling in a program before submitting their application. 74% of the eligible population was born in Mexico or Central America. Smaller proportions came from Caribbean, South America, 11%, Asia, 9%, and the rest of the world, 6%. Wow. To, to qualify for DACA, applicants must meet their following major requirements, although meeting them does not guarantee approval. So it doesn't guarantee approval, and it doesn't guarantee. Yeah, it doesn't guarantee approval, and it doesn't guarantee that you're going to stay or be a citizen. So, to qualify for DACA, you came to the U.S. before the 16th birthday, have lived continuously in the U.S. since June the 15th of 2007, were under age 31 on June 15, 2012, born on June 16, 1981 or after, were physically represent were physically present in the U.S. on June 15, 2012, and at the time of making their request for consideration of deferred action with the USCIS, had no lawful status. Okay, and was in the time. Let me read that one again. Were physically present in the U.S. on June 15, 2012, and at the time of making their request for consideration of deferred action with the USCIS, had no lawful status on June 15th of 2012, have completed high school or a GED and have been honorably discharged from the armed forces or are enrolled in school, have not been convicted of a felony or serious misdemeanor or three or more other misdemeanors, and do not otherwise pose a threat to national security or public safety. Okay, you must show proof of qualification. You must submit these forms to on the application authorized worksheet, form number I-765WS worksheet. Now, in addition, you got to pay the $4.95 in the application fee. Okay, you have to fill out forms. Form 131, application type D with a fee of $575 needs to be submitted to the USCIS. Form 131 must also be submitted by anyone that applies for a green card or other residency option, regardless of how they arrived upon the U.S. soil. So, my thing is, instead of looking at, if we look at it from a law point of view, okay, the law is the law. As anyone, as a Christian, we're supposed to respect the law. We're supposed to respect the law. So, my opinion probably doesn't matter to anyone but me, but go by what the law says. If you go by what the law says, you can't fail. You can't fail because that is the law. That's what it said. It hasn't been completely passed away. It looks like it's just been passed around, and it was passed in one house, wasn't passed in another house. The last word on it is it did not get the 60 votes it needed to overcome the Republican filibuster in the Senate, and that was in 2013. Um, so, it's just been here. My opinion, if they pass, it's a law that allowed them to stay here. It didn't guarantee them permanent residency, but it said you can stay here if you passed all these criteria. These criteria are put in place to protect the American people. And when I say the American people, I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about all of us as a whole. Because when people go and they kill, a bullet don't have a color on it. It doesn't. I mean, if you're pointing to someone of a color, yes, it does affect that, and then it's considered as racism, which is against the law. But if you follow the rules, it says you can stay here. If you're not following the rules, yes, go back to where you came from. The law was put in action to be just that, a law. A law is something that you abide by. So if for all those that are abiding by the law says that they can stay. And that's something that neither me or you has anything to do with it. Just like it's against the law, for a person to discriminate. It's against the law for to drive through a red light. That's the law. You have to obey the law. So I think we should all look at it from a law point of view. What do you think? I would love to hear it. You can always send me an email. Email me at Lena at ljdnshow.com, or just go ahead and make it simple, and you can just go to ljdnshow.com. Send me an email, or go to Gmail. You can go to Gmail and you can ljdnshow at gmail.com. Right now, let's go ahead to Cosmic Crash with Teen Stars. Now let's go with another one. Let's go with Lovers. No, let's go with Missy. I'm making my mind. Here we go. Guess which one I'm playing. Be back.
Forget about promises. They don't